What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 76 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Montreal Canadiens here 4-2. And not only that, but I saw a tweet from our friend Alex Hobson before I went live, and I just was laughing because it's spot on. It feels weird, yeah, they play them only 3 times, which it's, you know, there's going to be moving parts. The NHL wants teams to play other teams more and get other fans acclimated to other markets and maybe create some opportunities for some stars to be born and other fans to be exposed to different players and teams, whatever. But to watch this team only play 3 times and to sweep the Montreal Canadiens on the season, it feels shocking. Like, it feels like something we've never seen. Obviously, it's probably, I don't know the history of it. It feels like it's probably happened in the past. So I'm not saying that with fact, but it's just like, it feels like we don't see that. You know, we deal year after year after year with Habs fans being like, well, we beat the Leafs because that's their Stanley Cup, right? You draft a guy like Slavkovsky, and you know, he's basically going to end up being pure Engvall, as people in Toronto like to say. Obviously, I think he's going to be a better player than that. But that's the battle back and forth, and these fans, they don't have much to cheer for. So when they beat the Leafs, they go nuts. They go crazy. This is their Super Bowl. Their Stanley Cup is beating the Toronto Maple Leafs in a regular season game. And the Leafs beat them all 3 times this year. 6-5 to start the season. Dramatic comeback to be able to have Matthews score the hat trick in game 1, open the season up like that. Then into the second game, it's a tighter game, but the Leafs walk away with a 3-2 victory in that one. And then tonight here, 4-2, a pretty dominant Leafs win. You get a couple of goals from the Habs there, but then the Leafs shut it down. They locked it up. And you know what? We can have conversations, and we will during the show tonight, about how this game kind of progressed and everything that went on. For the fact that the Habs were able to score a couple of goals did bring some energy towards the end and start to tighten it up, and in terms of how many chances they were creating, and put a little bit of pressure on the Leafs. But I think one thing we can look at here as Leafs fans, especially as we're getting closer and closer and closer to the playoffs, is you didn't let them back in. You walked away with the win, and you did figure out how to just shut it down. You figured out how to say, no, fuck this. We're not losing this game here tonight. We're going to get it done. And you saw buy-ins, you saw some opportunities from the Habs, but it's just the natural pace of play. We had Rosie on, and it was something that I think for me, I'm going to take forward as someone who evaluates and watches the team. Don't get me wrong, I'll get pissed off when some of the stuff happens where the Leafs start to let it slip and other teams are able to fight their way back into games. But Rosie had brought up there, you know, it's just natural for the human brain, the human body, the human emotion to kind of relax a little bit. Sheldon Keefe even brought it up in the post game after the game against the Panthers, and he said, What do you want me to say there? Like, I don't know what else to expect of them. Like, you get up big, you go into the third period, you don't want to let them back in, but there is going to be an element of that where it's two-sided, right? You know the Panthers are going to come out. We as fans know the Panthers are going to come out with energy, and then we know that the team that's in the lead is going to kind of maybe dial back a little bit, or maybe just relax a little bit for what's going on there. They shut it down. And I think that we can have problems with some of the things that happen, some of the chances created by Montreal, but I never really felt at any point during kind of, you know, the rest of the second period and the third period that this was a game that was going to get away from them. It felt like they were constantly in control. It felt like they were always going to be able to close it out, get it done, and they just never let the Habs get that much of an opportunity and get that much momentum to come back into the game. I just was happy with that, the way that ended. Like, I was happy with the way that closed out, and the fact that you do get out of the Bell Center on a Saturday night in Montreal with a win. That's impressive. You know, it's a crappy team, but these rivalry matchups, it feels like every year we go into them as Leafs fans and we go, oh my God, why doesn't the team care about this rivalry against Ottawa, against Montreal, against Boston, the way that we do? Why don't they care? And we've seen points throughout this season that felt like they dipped. It felt like they dropped away. And that wasn't the case here tonight. There's something I need to address in the chat that was said here. I've seen it said before, mostly by the same person, but I feel like I see other people kind of bringing up the other perspective of it, and I got to just be honest there. Jeffrey saying, Reaves is a horrible hockey player. This team won't win with him. honestly, Jeffrey, I think you're completely out to fucking lunch on that statement. I think that is just astronomically terrible take. Like that is one of the worst takes I've seen of you're not going to win with this guy. He plays 6 minutes a game. He plays in the fourth line. And guess what? You know what? At the beginning of the season, I probably would have said that's fair. I probably just said, this guy can't play on this team. He can't hang. He can't be here. The way that he has played since he returned from injury, to have that kind of comment about he's not good enough, he sucks as a hockey player, whatever, this team will never win with him, is so out to lunch. It's so out to lunch. It's absurd to have that statement said here in the chat. The way that this guy is playing, the impact he's making, and another thing, I mean, hey, look, I'm just going to absolutely pump Rosie's tires here. I don't care. It's someone who's helpful to the show, helpful to you guys in the chat to kind of get to experience what's going on or get an inside look about what's going on within this team and how the game is being played. Reaves is a smart hockey player. Is he as great of a hockey player as he could be? No, he's not. He's not that great of a player. But he's making an impact because he knows what his role is, and he's not sitting on the bench watching the game go on and say, I need to go out there and I need to score goals. I need to go out there and I need to make things happen. He's not doing that. The way he's making an impact on the game is by finishing checks, it's by blocking shots, it's by hitting guys along the boards when they enter the zone to basically say, you're not going to have time, you're not going to have space, you're not going to be feeling comfortable. And when you look to the first period of this game, Ryan Reaves drives the net, defenseman on Montreal, I think it was Matheson, I could be wrong, so I apologize if it was. He stands in front of the net, the defenseman stands there, goes to cross-check him, and Reaves just says, get out the way, and throws him into the goaltender, knocks over the goalie, and it's just, nothing's going to happen there. No ref happening, no ref calling a penalty there. They're not going to get involved in that one. It's just a scrum. The other guy just lost. The other guy was just weaker. He was not as tough, he was not as strong, and he was not prepared. You got to respect that because that's not something the Leafs have brought in the past where it's, hey, we're going to bring the intensity to you. We saw it out of Edmondson. We see it out of McCabe and Benoit. You saw that shift there where Gallagher was in front of the net being a little shit that he is, and McCabe and Benoit just immediately jump him. They're like, no, you're not doing this. This is stuff we've never seen out of this team, and it's not 100% because of Ryan Reaves, but you got to admit, you have to admit, if you're an honest fan of not just the Leafs, but if you're a fan of hockey, that a guy like that can make a difference on your culture, can make an impact on the locker room, and he can also make an impact on the mentality of the team every time that they go out on the ice and play with him on there. You want another example of how important that could be to your team? You want another example of how important a guy like Ryan Reaves can be to the bench, the momentum that can happen and be picked up from the guys watching on from Austin Matthews? Because maybe that impact isn't made from, oh, he's going to hit that guy and that guy won't hit Matthews. I think that's one thing that the spreadsheet boys get wrong all the time. You see a guy hit Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, and they go, oh, well, our guy Jeffy V. He's always say, oh, well, you got this guy, so Matthews shouldn't get hit like that because Reaves is on the team. No, that's not the way that it works. That's not the way that it works. And that's not the way that it's ever worked. The way that it works is that there's going to be some type of response. And what's happened in the past is it's not been there. The other part of what happens is the raw human emotion that goes into the game when Ryan Reaves goes out there and absolutely beats the wheels off of Michael Pezzetta, says, you know what, big man, you want to go here? I'm going to show you how the fuck it's done. I've been in the league a long time. I'm going to make this happen. Throws bombs, and Austin Matthews is on the bench going nuts. There's videos out there of him tonight going nuts on the bench when that happened. You know what happened against Jeannot the other night? Domi, Nyes, Robertson, Matthews going nuts on the bench. The bench goes crazy. We have not seen this type of emotion out of, one, the fan base in a positive light. We have not seen that emotion be brought out of the fans here, where they get so fired up. They get so happy, intense, overjoyed about the fact that we've got players on our team who can just go out there and pump guys like that. But it's more than just, oh, I'm here for aggression. It's also, we have response. We have team toughness. We have some physicality. We have an ability to push back and say, you're not going to bully us because we have some tough motherfuckers on this team. And then we are also seeing this bench and these guys respond in a way we've never seen before. We're seeing these guys get excited in ways we've never seen them before because no one really gives a shit when Michael Bunting goes out there and slashes a guy in the knee. It's more of a nuisance than anything else, and not because, Matthews and Marner are going to take more shit after it, which is a stupid narrative that was created before, but it's because maybe you're going to get a penalty. Maybe now you have to go into the PK to get out of this. Like, this is a different culture, a different mindset, and a different mentality. And I'm not going to excuse them if they lose in the first round this year. I'm not. You got to get through it. I don't think that this team is as good on paper as they were in years past, but this team is so much more fucking prepared to go into the playoffs than they have been the entire time Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares have been here with this Leafs team. This team is so much more well set up from a mental and physical perspective to go into the playoffs and potentially have a run. This is a much different setup. This is a much different approach. It's just so much more playoff constructed. And to say you can't win if Ryan Reaves is in your lineup, I think is an outrageous statement. And I don't know. Maybe you just don't know puck, Jeffrey. Maybe you just don't know puck. But that is ridiculous. Ryan Reaves, he's not going to be the guy that goes out there and, he's going to turn the tides because he's scoring goals and that's his role. He's going to be a guy who can go out there and make his impact found in other ways. The other thing I just want to say here on top of that is the way that the team was built in the years past with the bottom six is they're all guys who are basically what the top six are, but just not as good. They're fast. They can get up and down the ice. They can kill penalties. They can go on to second power plays, whatever. And you look and you're like, oh yeah, you've got so much depth because you've got Kerfoot, who's just not as good as going into the top six, but he can play into the third and the fourth lines. And you can get Calle Yarncroke, and I don't have any problem with them, but it's like Pierre Engvall, Mikheyev, all these guys. Well, they just don't do as good of what the top six does, and they're just more of that into the bottom. And so when you go into the bottom, you look at those guys, if they're not contributing, then they're bringing zero to the table ever. Zero. Like, they're not bringing anything to the team or to the game or to be able to change the way that things are going. Then when you look at this bottom six, it's so much different. It's so much different. The tertiary and secondary pieces that you have here, I always say them backwards for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's not intentional. Secondary and tertiary pieces that you have, your McMahons, your Nyes, your Holmberg, then you go to your Dewar, Kampf, Reaves. They all bring something else, even if it's not offense, even if it's not goal scoring. I'll leave it at that. I just saw that comment, and I thought that was an outrageous comment. And you can't get away with that in my chat if you're going to be saying ridiculous things like that. You guys can call me out on anything you want. Fair is fair. I'm open to taking criticism. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to give it back. That was a bad take. Bad take. With all due respect. Thank you to everyone who's watching right now. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everyone who continues to come here to the show. I'm sure that as we get through regular season and then once we get into the playoffs, it'll continue to grow and blow up. But thank you so much to everyone who watches. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, like this stream right now, turn on notifications so you get notified every single time that we go live. I know all Liam's buddies are watching right now. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. If you're watching, you haven't, hit the like button. Happy birthday, Liam. Hit the like button. As well, the Tunas. I know the boys from the Tunas are watching. Shout out the boys in Vegas. Just got to do some personal shout outs. It is what it is. But thanks to them. And if you're watching, you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. You want to see me do smelling salts on stream? Hit the like button. 50, 100, 150. That's what we're doing here. Hit the like button. Let's keep it going. There's more stuff I want to get to from tonight's game. The first period, I thought was just like, whatever. Like, we kind of showed up and was like, we weren't asleep, I don't think. Like, I don't feel like that was like a sleepy first period. It just more was like a nothing burger period where you kind of came away and you're like, all right, whatever. I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy with what happened, but I'm not upset. Like, it's just a period of hockey that was played, if that makes sense. Like, it was just a game that we got to watch for 20 minutes. It's like, okay, thank you. And keep it moving. Let's go on to the second period. So you get through that first 20, felt just kind of nothing both ways. There's a couple chances, but like didn't feel too much. Reaves does that in the first period where he throws the guy into the goaltender. I like that. I like the intensity and the momentum. It's also like, it's the first period. Like, if people are going to get mad about that, this is where I agree with Rosie too in terms of his smarts. He knows when he can and can't do that. I trust that Ryan Reaves isn't doing that in the third period of a playoff game because he knows there's a possibility of that being a penalty, and then that's going to fuck your team. In the first period, who cares? Like, take a penalty, who cares? The penalty kill has been absolutely electric. They've been dialed in. They've been really good for like the last couple of games, so you have faith in them. Keith has faith in them. The team's going to have faith in them. Happy with that. Like, who cares? Who cares? Take a penalty. They score. Put some faith in your penalty kill, but it also sets a little bit of a tone. It says, we're not going to get pushed around. We're going to jump on you. And it was a little bit of a sleepy first period just from both teams. Like, the whole pace of everything was just kind of slow. It happens. Then I looked at the second period, and it was like the Leafs came out, and someone in the locker room said, hey, boys, like, we're not going to let ourselves get behind in this game. We're going to take it to them. Let's get this one done. Let's go out there and just win this game. You've got contributions from everyone, which is another thing about what I liked about this game. This is a Habs fan's worst nightmare. This is a Habs fan who hates the Leafs' worst nightmares game. Max Domi scores the first goal. Former Hab, they look at that trade and aren't overly thrilled with how things progressed since then. Max Domi, first goal. Then you've got Austin Matthews, a guy who absolutely owns your team. He owns your organization. He owns your franchise. Regardless of how some of these games have gone win-loss-wise, Matthews is a guy who's put up performances basically every single time he plays the Habs. And on top of that, he is chasing 70. You're the Habs. You hate this guy. You hate the Leafs. You don't want him to get to 70. And yet, he still finds a way to bang on you. 64th goal of the year, 100th point of the year. Is that good? 64 goals? Is that good? 70 still alive? The opportunity to get 70 this season alive? Like, I don't know. It's going to be really hard to get it. I think that he's going to have another multi-goal game, ideally a 3-goal game, if he's going to give this team, or he's going to give the coaching staff the confidence to say, hey, we'll keep putting you back out there so you can get the chance. We all anticipate he's going to sit one of the Florida-Tampa games in the back-to-back to end the season, so you're going to have to get it done before then. We keep looking at, hey, 7 games left, 6 games left. In reality, it's probably actually one less than what's even on the schedule because we're all predicting he's going to sit out one of those. Even if he's at 69, I feel like they're going to be really hesitant to let him do it. You know that it's not like he's going to go into that game and one of Tampa or Florida is going to be like, yeah, Matthews, here's like free lane to the net. Go get it done. Like, no, that's not going to happen, right? They're not going to just open up and say, part the seas, let Austin Matthews get 70 so he can leave the game here tonight. It's not how it works. It's not how professional hockey works. It's not how competition works, especially with teams that you could be going up against in the playoffs. Won't happen. So if he wants it, he's got to get it done ahead. Matthew Knies. This is a guy who is getting the comparisons to Slafkovsky because Habs fans sit over there and grasp at straws because that's basically all they've got. They were told Nick Suzuki is Bergeron. Nick Suzuki is Bergeron. He's a really good player. Their team still stinks, and no matter how bad or good your team is or how good or bad you are, if your team still stinks around you, then you're not ever going to be able to become Bergeron. So they just grasp and grasp and grasp. And then now they're comparing the first overall pick, mind you, the first overall pick. And you're comparing him to the 57th overall pick. Like, what are we doing? The first overall pick, you're making comparisons to the 57th overall pick. That's all you've got in your pocket. Like, congratulations here. That's the bag that you've got right now. Matthew Knies gets on the board. Not just a secondary assist, but a pretty nice goal. Gets to the front of the net. He knows what his role is. He knows how he's going to make an impact. He gets to the front. Shot comes through from the point. He grabs a rebound, picks it up, and buries. Yeah, palm face, bringing up. Don't forget, Caufield is going to be a 50-goal scorer any day now. We're still waiting. Then, the other thing, look, they get back into it, but Mitch Marner on the board again here tonight. I just was impressed with the game. I think that one thing that we do have to realize that's going to be hard for a lot of these teams going through the final stretch, the teams that know they're in the playoffs, like we talked about, the Leafs have already clinched. They know they're going to the playoffs. Like, that's it. There's a little bit of a mental, checkout. And I think people get confused, and I think I got confused or caught up in it in the past, where it's like you look at that and you go, oh, this team's checking out at the wrong time. It's like, well, maybe this team is just looking ahead at the playoffs. Like, maybe this team is like, this isn't that important. We know that we're in the playoffs. It's just a matter of who. It's a matter of home ice away. So these games aren't that important. And a Saturday night in Montreal. And you still came out here, and I think that for the most part tonight, you did the little things. You won battles. You committed to getting pucks out. You committed to blocking shots. Tyler Bertuzzi is sprawling around like a psychopath, blocking shots in his own zone at the end of the game to try to end things. Like, you're up 2 goals with 40 seconds, and you've got Tyler Bertuzzi sliding around the ice on his stomach, blocking shots. You cared enough. So shout out to these guys. There's a little bit of a playoff mentality that's being shown through. And I don't know. I'm becoming impressed with the mentality of the group. We'll see the way that this plays out in the playoffs, because there's a chance, seriously, there's a chance that we get to the playoffs and we are all so let down that it's like heartbreak and we just go rinse and repeat. But I feel more optimistic. I feel like I just feel like there's a different mentality, and maybe I'm out to lunch. Sorry if I am, chat. I feel like this is one of the first teams I have fun watching. I have fun watching Domi and Bertuzzi and Reaves and Benoit and all these guys. I have fun watching the different aspects that they bring to the game. I just enjoy the Reaves beating the hell out of some guy out on the ice, because he knows when he's got to do it. He knows how to do it. He's really fucking good at it. Like, we're not talking about some schmucks that he's beaten up over the last little while. Tanner should know. We go Pizzetta here tonight. You know, we saw him fight Rempe earlier this season. Like, the guy's not afraid of anyone. And it's like, we know we might get a Reaves fight. Sammy's found a way to battle back here. This guy seems like he's dialed in. Chad is coming up with incredible nicknames for Habs players right now and for the Habs team. It just feels different, and it feels like a different vibe. And maybe I'm just an idiot, and maybe I'm delusional, and I'm convincing myself that this is going to end differently, or this team is different, when I've gone into every year being like, maybe things can go differently, but obviously it's the same team. We've just learned. And I think we all as fans kind of came in being like, hey, we've learned. Maybe this will change this year. It's just not that mindset for me, or I think for many people who watch this team now. I feel like right now a lot of fans of this team are watching going, you know what? This is a different construction. This is a different character. This is a different identity. This is a different way that this team plays. It feels like Craig's saying in the chat, True Living's fingerprints are on the roster. And we're seeing it now. We're seeing the way that these guys are playing and the fun that's being had. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie to you in the chat. I think that's part of maybe why over the last little while I just am not I was pissed about the way that the Florida game ended because I was like, hey, you let them get right back in that one. But then Rosie came on and talked to me, and he's like, 40 minutes was incredible. You knew Florida was going to give a push, and guess what? You held off. And that's something that we haven't really been able to say about this team in the past of like, hey, we've held off. You held off. You held them off. You held them off the other night. You held them off here tonight. I saw a question there in the chat. I can't find it right now, but I saw a question that was asking if I'm going to shave or go clean for the playoffs or if I'm going to go full Thornton. I'm thinking we let it go. We'll let the playoff beard go again for as long as the Leafs can make it, and I won't shave until the Leafs are out. And then that's when we'll trim things up. But until then, letting it fly. We'll get it to grow from here. You know, maybe like, I don't know, maybe day one of the playoffs, you trim it back up again. We'll see. We'll make that decision when we get there. Hair, freshly done. I mean, we're bringing the mullet back. I want my mullet back. That's what I said. I went to the barber. I said, I want my mullet back. Let's get it done up. Let's clean it up. Ripping around downtown Toronto now. Mullet, clean. We look good. We're tidy. We're looking good. We're snapping necks at the bar. What can I say? 6. I like us right now, Zach, and you are looking much nicer, cleaned up. I'm sorry, man. I think I got to grow the beard. It's for the spirit of the game. This isn't for me. It's not for my looks. It's not for you in the chat. You guys, I'm obviously not a looker. I'm not the, well, you know, I mean, I'll give myself some credit, but I'm not. I mean, it's not for me. This is for the spirit of the game. This is for playoff history. That's what we're growing in. For the love of the Holy Spirit, yes. Let's keep it going. Let's keep talking about more stuff that went on in tonight's game. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying everything going on in the chat. If anybody wants to call in, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, you let me know. You send me a message. Twitter, Instagram. It's probably the best ways. Discord, you can send me a message there as well. We'll figure out another way to do it. Maybe email at some point. I won't do that for tonight. But Twitter, Instagram, Discord, send me a message. I'll send you guys the link. You guys can call in. Let me know your thoughts. But I just truthfully, I'm pretty happy with the results of tonight's game. I am happy that everyone got in here. Vino, my guy, no worries that you're late. We're all good. Wilfred, you guys are pumping my tires here right now. I'm come on. I'm feeling some type of way right now about the way the chat is treating this. Thank you. Let's go to smelling salts. We hit 50 likes. If you're new to the stream, this is what it is. If you're listening on podcasts, I'm sorry, this is what it is. This is the way that this stream goes. It's ridiculous. We're on here for an hour and a half following games. It's raw emotion. We're talking with the chat. We're taking calls from Leafs fans. We're breaking everything down. I'm getting hit on by the chat. They're choosing whether or not I should grow my beard. I cut my hair. This is the way the show goes. I talked to the guys at the Leafs Nation, and I said, this is what my show is. It's ridiculous. And they said, we know. We're good. That's what it is. Thank you, guys. 50 likes. Get it to 100. Smelling salts. Thank you. Too close. Oh, not expecting that. Also, I mentioned it there quickly. I'm not sure if people noticed or haven't noticed. Oh my God, those salts hit hard. There is a podcast version now. If you missed the show live and you can't get here to watch it after, you can't get here to watch it live, or you don't want to watch it on YouTube, maybe you want to watch it. Maybe you want to watch it or listen to it in the car on the way to work in the morning, or you're driving home and you want to hear my thoughts on everything that went down in the game. You want to hear the callers. You want to hear the incredible guests that we get to have. Writers from the Leafs Nation Network. We get Jay Rosehill, Nick Alberga coming through, Carter Hutton come through. Anthony Stewart at some point will likely hop on the show. Like, we get all these people to come on the show and help also give their opinions on top of everything the fans are saying. You want to listen to that? Go on any podcasting platform that you've got. Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever it is. Search up the Leafs Nation After Dark. You'll find it on there, and you can listen shortly after the show. Let's be realistic. We got to take the show, turn it around, and put it up on podcast form. That's how it is. You get here to the live show, but if you miss, then you got to get to there. Not going to lie. Funny comments in the chat there. Handshake line, 6 watches with the volume off. Fair enough. I see Mike saying, Zach, are you going to come to a Leafs playoffs game at Scotiabank Arena this spring? We'll see. I mean, doing the show, we got to be here right away after the show goes to break everything down as well. So that can make things a little bit different, a little bit more difficult to do. We'll see. And then Luke saying, Zach, can you host a Leafs Nation tailgate party with Nick and Rosie for playoffs? Meet and greet with the fans, bro. That's not up to me. I am merely a cog in the operation. If that's something you want, comment that on the Leafs Nation stuff. Go to Twitter. Tweet at the Leafs Nation. Tweet at them. I am a piece in the operation. I'm really, really happy to be here and be a part of it. I love the chat. I love the show, but that stuff's not up to me. I can send that over to them and let them know that's something you guys are interested in, but that's not my call. Let's call it what it is. Let's keep going. Let's keep talking about tonight's game. 30 minutes in here. I appreciate everyone who's watching. I want 100 likes. Let's come on. Let's get to 100 likes. 100 likes before we get off the stream tonight. I also see 8,000 subscribers here, 8,160. We're looking for 10,000 before the playoffs. We can get that. This tonight, this is the next thing I want to talk about here. This tonight, I feel like this was the first preview that we're going to see of playoff lines. And I think that this should be how things are set up when we go into the playoffs. I feel like this is how we should be operating come game one. I like the diversification of the three lines. I know that there was a little bit of a breakdown. The first goal, let me double check. The first goal that was scored by the Habs there, the second goal scored by the Habs there is created by that third line getting hemmed into their own zone. They get pinned in there. They're not able to, they're not the most defensively responsible group. They're going to get caved a little bit every now and then, but I think that their ability to score is going to overcome it in the long run. I think in a short sample size, like one game, it might not look the greatest, and I feel like them not being able to have that much chemistry built together, them not being able to kind of have talked as much as you would for guys who play together all year long. If you get another 6 games going here and you keep those guys together and you keep letting them bounce back off of each other, bounce back and forth ideas and the way that they want to play together, I think it can only get better. Like, I really do. And the other thing that I sit here and look at and say, I think this is another reason why you should keep those guys together is because the top 6 looked so good. Like, the first line matched up the way that they were. The first line I'm in love with, first of all. Like, I'm so happy with those guys. I love the way that they play. I love the intensity that they bring. I love the chances that are created. It feels like sheer chaos nonstop every time that they're on the ice. These guys go out there, they're creating stuff, they're getting in below the goal line, they're winning battles, they're blocking shots in their own zone, they're able to get down the ice quickly, they're able to create in transition, they're able to create setup, they're able to create in a 5v5, they're able to create in odd man situations, getting down the ice early. Like, it doesn't matter. They're just able to create chances, and we are already seeing production. Like, this is not a team that we're looking at and being like, oh, when we get a couple games in, they'll start to figure it out and they'll start to play well. No. Right away, they started playing and they started bringing intensity and they started fucking getting it done. And it was just from the jump, they got it done. They took it. They started scoring goals. Matthews kept things going. Domi is absolutely out of his mind now. Bertuzzi's scoring goals. He is like, his season has done a complete 180, and then they play with an intensity. Like, they play with an intensity amongst that top group that we've never seen from this first unit. We have never seen that first line play or act the way that they have together and be able to open things up. I love what that first line brings. Then I look at the second line. It's so Neanderthal and caveman of myself, and I know this, so I'm willing to admit it, You guys can call me out for it. Go for it. I have no problem. But it's the caveman. It's like that like, this work we do. Like, Marner and Tavares have traditionally been incredible together. The best season Tavares ever had with the Maple Leafs was with Mitch Marner. William Nylander and John Tavares, they're good, but they're not that good. They're just not that good. Like, and I'm saying that relatively. They're just not that good in regards to how good the first line is, right? Or how good Marner and Tavares are. They're just not. Like, that's not how it's operating. So when you have an opportunity to keep the first line together, that's incredible. And then you have a second line together that has Marner, has Tavares, and they're able to play so well together. And then you add Bobby McMann onto the other side. That, again, is another lineup that are construction that we haven't seen out of this team. A guy that can play with Tavares and Marner to open things up for them. He can win battles. He can get up and down the ice quickly. He can create things. He makes stuff happen. He's capable of scoring goals. You see him score another goal here tonight. You think Bobby McMann isn't going to be like, no, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to score 20, 25 goals playing with Mitch Marner because I have to go to the net and put my stick down? This guy's got to go to the net and put his stick down, and he's going to get opportunities. He's going to be able to create chances. He's a smart player who's capable of scoring goals. He's heavy. He can win battles. He can get guys off puck, finishes checks. Why would you change that? So I think the third line, we just look at them. I know people in the chat are being like, well, why is Nylander on that third line? That's a disservice. He's almost at 100. He's been so good this year. I look at it differently. I think the way that it's constructed frees Nylander. This is a twisted way to look at it, and maybe it's me just being overly positive about everything that's gone on with the team over the last little while, but I feel like William Nylander, watching him, is the type of guy that you just have to let run wild a little bit. You need him to be defensively responsible and responsible in all the other aspects of the game. But what I mean by run wild is stop confining yourself to the idea that you have to be a guy who's playing with John Tavares. What I mean by that is, I have to get open for John, or I have to get the puck to John, or how do we go back and forth because he's also a really good player, I'm a really good player, how do we balance this? And then it just messes up the flow of his game. Tavares is a guy who can play with a Robin, Batman and Robin situation where they can go together, they can get stuff done, and they can kind of play off of each other. William Nylander is a solo flyer here, man. This is a guy who can take it end to end at any given moment. He can pick up the puck in the offensive zone. He can wheel around, do circles around the entire offensive zone. He just needs guys to just kind of play positionally smart. Be in the right spots at the right time. Get to the front of the net. Get your stick down. Help him win battles. Help him get pucks back. I look at it as just freeing him a little bit. Like, it just opens up his game where he can do things that he doesn't really get to do in a role where he's going to be with John Tavares, where he's sharing the puck. This is fully, Willie, this is you, brother. The puck, it's yours. You get out on the ice, this is up to you. Like, you can get it done because you're the best guy out there. You've got Matthew Nyes who's developing. He's going to be mean. He's going to be tough. He's going to help open things up for Nylander. You got Pontus Holmberg between them. He's defensively responsible. He's going to be able to win draws. He's also a pretty smart player, so you can get open. You can get the puck to Willie, fellow Swede. The way that these guys are going to be able to get stuff done together, I think this is the ideal lineup. There was a moment I was watching, and I saw Marner and Matthews on the ice together, and I almost shit my pants. I was watching and I just said, what the fuck is Keith doing? Like, what is going on right now? And I realized it was a shift change. But I think that that's some of the trauma that we've had here as Leafs fans in years past, where it was like one messed up shift a little bit and he's right back to what we've seen before, right back to what he's comfortable with. And everyone else in the world goes, why are you doing that? Everyone else in the world says, why are you doing that? The first line, I loved their game tonight. I think that they were just chaotic, and people are going to kind of complain, and there's going to be games where the chaos doesn't go your way, and they'll say, why would you want it to be chaotic when you could go to Matthews and Marner and you know what you're going to get? I think the chaos it's like a controlled chaos. You are intentionally bringing chaos. It's not chaos because you have no idea what the hell is going on and things could go any way, any which way. This chaos is arms flailing, twigs everywhere, bodies crashing, gong show. And it's purposeful. It has a meaning. It's intentional. These guys are doing it intentional. I love that first line. I just had to get that out there. And then the other part is I love the fourth line. I'm just a bit of a sicko. I feel like I've been deprived of this. I watch these other teams and these other games. I work not just here. I work with the other stuff that I do with guys who are fans of other teams, who are analysts of other teams, whatever. And they'll sit there and they'll talk about, the team toughness. And we got to watch this guy throw bombs last night, and this guy finished checks. And look what Florida does, and look what Tampa does, and look what Boston does. And I'm just sitting there like wanting to pull my hair out because I'm having to watch Nick Robertson, Ilya Mikheyev, Pierre Engvall in my bottom six. I'm like, these guys don't do any of that. Like, we don't get to see it. And now we see it, and I'm like, thank you. Thank you, Toronto. Thank you for finishing checks. Thank you for bringing guys who hit and finish checks and finish through and forecheck hard, and guys who will cross-check the hell out of the other team in front of the net, make their lives miserable, like Benoit and McCabe and Edmondson. And thank you for just giving us something to cheer for that it feels like we've been deprived of as fans. And maybe I'm too positive on them, but it's just right now I'm just riding a high. Like right now I'm just legitimately riding a high of like, I can't believe like we get to watch these guys for a whole year and into the playoffs now rather than just like getting guys at the end. Freddie Gauthier, palm face bringing up. That's insane. Freddie the Goat is an insane pull to bring into this chat right now. Crazy move by you. Anything else from tonight's game that we got to get to here for what was going on? I mean, I think Reaves has to be in the first in the lineup for game one. I did want to talk about Samsonov a little bit here. I think Sammy had a really good game. The two goals that were scored, the one was a nice pass across the ice by Slafkovsky. It goes backhander. You know what? Kudos to him. He makes a great pass backhand, full cross ice. Nick Suzuki, one-timer, opens up. He's right-handed, opens that thing up. Great shot by him. Samsonov has to go post to post, get across the ice, try to make that save. It didn't happen, but it was a great attempt. Kudos to him. I don't have any issue there. The second one, we want to talk about the third line, some of the lack of defensive ability or awareness or whatever. That second one was maybe you could say, hey, again, I will always preface anything I talk about with the goalies by saying I am not an expert. I cannot break down positional stuff. I just can give you feel of this guy was good, this guy was bad, or he was missing some of the stuff that you can kind of get from surface level. I'm never going to pretend to be an expert on the goaltenders. But that was all defensive breakdown by that third line. You had Benoit and Holmberg both chase Slafkovsky behind the net, and it feels like normally that's probably going to be Holmberg's guy, but contextually in that situation, it seemed like Benoit should have gone just based on the way that he was jumping and where Slafkovsky was coming from. Benoit goes to chase. I think that that's kind of a little bit of a lack of trust. And I don't think that there's a trust issue. I just think in that situation, it's you got to just trust your teammates that they're going to do their jobs. You got to trust Holmberg that he's going to be able to chase the guy. Then you have Benoit. He can just go to the front of the net and hold things down and be able to grab Caufield and not let him be wide open in the slot. But he jumps. He goes to chase. Holmberg then also has to kind of have awareness, or they have to talk amongst each other. I'm going, And then Holmberg's going to have to realize he's got to pick up Benoit's guy. He doesn't. That's a breakdown. And then you've got Cole Caufield wide open, point blank in the slot, who's able to bury past Samsonov. Like, are you going to tell me on either of those goals that this is Samsonov's fault? He finishes with a .923 save percentage. He makes 24 saves here tonight on 26 shots. Only lets in the 2 goals. I don't see him being a problem. I think that he's just continuing to further lock up his candidacy. I always mess up that word. Candidacy. Fuck it. Forget the word. He's continuing to lock up his position as the starter for game 1 of the team come playoffs. Again, if you're watching on any platform, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys watching, following, whatever. Thank you so much for that. Also, as well, you can find us on podcast, The Leafs Nation, After Dark, wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to check that out. All right. Other stuff I want to get to here, just quickly, some tweets that came out. We normally are trying to get to these during the show here as well as things go. Mark Masters tweeted out here, Ryan Reaves didn't see the Pizzetta hit on Kampf because he was changing. He says, otherwise it probably would have happened right away. The bench was pretty upset about it, so figured it wasn't good. How's his hand? It's all right. He said with a smile, no problem. I mean, I was a little bit, I also too was kind of like, oh, why didn't Reaves fight? And then I look and he's just off the bench. He was on the bench. So I was like, okay, that makes sense in the moment. That was my first thought as well. I looked at that play and said, why is he not fighting there? Like, why is he not in this one? And because you know, anytime a big hit like that is going to be laid and a guy's going to be laying down on the ice, he's going to jump in and he's going to try to fight the guy. He didn't. And I'm like, where is he? Oh, well, he's on the bench. Fair enough. Goes and responds later. And does he ever respond? Bomb after bomb after bomb. Why would I be puffing the Magic Dragon before the stream? What did I do? What did I do? Well, what's wrong? Is this not a good stream here tonight? What the hell is going on? I see Pizzetta, someone saying in the chat there, saying 6 1/3, saying Pizzetta tweeted tap. He didn't tweet anything. Pizzetta didn't tweet anything. He hasn't tweeted since November 13th, 2023. As well, another tweet here from Masters. Master says, Austin Matthews on Ryan Reaves. He's just an animal, honestly. He's a beast. It's moments like those where you really realize how important he is to the team. How important he is to the team. I love watching him do what he does. He's the best in the world at it for a reason. Jeffrey, where are you at, brother? The best player on the team. It's moments like those where you really realize how important he is to the team. What's up, Jeffrey? The best player on the team is saying publicly in the media how important Ryan Reaves is. Come on. Come on. Put some respect on Reaves' name. 1.3 is probably a lot. I'll give you that. This is why you bring these guys in. This is why you use the spreadsheets, the analytics, the advanced numbers, and you say, this is good information. This is good to have. This is good to look at and to be able to break down and say, hey, this is a base of what we've got for these players that can help predict who they will be, how they'll perform, whatever. It's not and never will be the be-all, end-all until you could find some way to calculate heart. When you can calculate heart and you could put it into your machines that pump out numbers, then I will grant you that and I will say, fine, build the team off of the spreadsheet. Until that day, I will never, ever get to the point of allowing that and being okay with it, because you watch a guy like Ryan Reaves, who was dumped on by people in the summer for signing. The best player, game 76 of the season, post-game. He's an animal. He's a beast. It's moments like those where you realize how important he is to the team. I love watching him do what he does. That is important. That's not on your spreadsheet. That's not in your analytics. It's just not, and it never will be. Then, like Benoit, Edmondson, shitty player cards, shitty productions. This guy stinks. True Living's a moron. Bring back Dubas. Where are those guys at now? Because now that they're here, now that they're making an impact, now the fact that every single player on this team loves those guys, loves them, talks about them in the locker room, talks about them on the ice, the impact they're making. Jake McCabe talking about Edmonton, drag the boys into the fight against Edmonton. Now that we're talking about these other guys who can drag you in, who can bring that intensity, who bring that energy, and oh, by the way, all those fucking cards that said this guy stinks, Tree Living's a moron, those cards are so much better now. We're looking at these guys, we're looking at their defensive metrics, we're looking at their underlying numbers, and they've all improved. Imagine that. Signing with a better team and being with better players is going to somehow make your numbers better. What a fucking thought that is. Sometimes you have to understand at least what is in here, and if you don't got it in here, then maybe your player cards, maybe your projections, and maybe your underlying analytics just aren't that important for said player. They're always a guiding compass, but they're not the hard rules. They're not. Also, by the way, Austin Matthews on being booed in Montreal tonight. This is a funny quote. I just wanted to bring this up to you guys as well so you can see it now or hear about it now. Austin Matthews on being booed in Montreal tonight. Honestly, I kind of find it like a tone of respect, I guess, especially in a building like this and a big-time hockey city and fan base, so I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Pretty sick. Pretty sick. And I feel like we're just seeing the beginning of what Tree Living has, and people said, oh, his teams never did anything in Calgary. He didn't have players as good as Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander there in Calgary. He didn't have this abundance of them. And he sure as hell did not have Austin Matthews. As much as you want to say that a guy like Matthew Tkachuk could be really good, he's not Austin Matthews. Also, am I seeing this correctly? The Devils, this is funny as hell. The Devils scored an empty net goal disrespectfully, and so the Senators fought him. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. What a sad fan base. All right. We got a couple more things to get out of here tonight. I think I've spoken my piece on the game. I don't feel like there's much else to kind of break down or dig into. So let's get out of here with our final stuff. Let's get to, first of all, the fact that we've all got more money in our pockets. The fact that we've all got more money in our pockets because we won a bet on Bet99 here tonight. Leafs, puck line, -1.5, plus 135. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was sweating a little bit late. I was sitting there thinking about the people at Bet99 watching the show from pregame, and they're like, oh, well, the Leafs Nation crew, the Leafs Nation After Dark crew, they're on the Leafs -1.5. You're watching the Habs start to storm back. You're watching the Leafs not score, and you're kind of sitting there being like, they're sitting in that room thinking, we got the best of them. We got the best of those guys. And the Leafs fucking held on like we knew that they would. They held on, and they got it done here tonight to get this win against the Habs. Not only get the win, but get the win by 2 or more to cover the -1.5 puck line at plus 135. I talked about it in the preview. There was so many factors to this game for me tonight. Morgan Rielly, I don't think looked that great in his return after the injury. He was going to need to kind of bounce back. He was going to need to have himself a game. He was going to want to battle here tonight. Mitch Marner hasn't played in a long time. He hates the fans here. He hates the media here. Does his whining session, so he's going to want to give the finger to everybody. He's not playing to win your support. He's playing to give the FU to us as the fans and the media, because everyone talks shit about poor Mitchie, so we got to be nice to him. So he was going to show up. William Nylander, I was excited to see how he was going to be on the third line, because him going in there into the third line, I felt like it was going to open up opportunities for him. It was okay. It was touch and go. We saw a line from their goal. We saw a goal scored against them because of the way that they're played as well, but we saw some different kind of perspectives, some different angles about the way that this thing went here tonight. going into it where I was looking at being like, I think this Leafs team is going to come out with a jump. You knew that Sammy was going to want to be able to, or going to want to go. You know he wants this net come game 1 of the playoffs. And the way he's been playing, he's deserved it. But at any given moment here over the next 7, we could see things swing the other way. Gets it done. We knew he was going to come in fired up. The defensemen on this team. The fourth line. We knew there was going to be a little bit of scrappy energy out of those guys. Bertuzzi, Domi. Those guys were going to bring it. And Austin Matthews just owns the Habs. Leafs get the sweep. We get money in our pockets. I'm sorry, Bet99. I love you for the support of the show, but I love you more when you put money back in my pocket, and I appreciate that. For anyone who watches this show and also watches the morning show, you can spend a little bit of that money maybe tonight or tomorrow night down on King West. Have yourself a night. Check out Two Cats on Thursday. Little pocket change to head down there, $4 drinks, whatever it is. And that's thanks to our friends at Bet99. We're going to have a back and forth. We're going to have a battle this year, Bet99. You knew it when you signed up. You knew what you were in for. We're bringing the heat. We're still up money on the season. We're down in terms of the record, but the ROI and the units that we've won are up. We've been buzzing. We're going to keep buzzing. That's just what we do here on the show. -1.5 plus 135 at Bet99. Cashes. But you know what? I'm talking shit. I'm talking some smack here. If you're going to be betting, you should be betting at Bet99 because you win that money. It's top tier customer service. It's fast payouts. It's smooth transactions. Your local Canadian sportsbook and online casino built by Canadians for Canadians. You should be betting at Bet99 if you're going to be betting. You should be betting responsibly, and it's not for everybody, but if you're going to be betting, you should be doing it at Bet99. You should be betting at Bet99. You must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Available to persons in Ontario only. Thank you to our friends at Bet99. But good for us. Winning night here tonight. -1.5 plus 135. We will grab that one. Take it to the bank. Thank you very much, Bet99. Let's get 2 final things before we get out of the show here tonight. Let's first get to our play of the game. All right, play of the game here tonight. I'm gonna go caveman. I'm going caveman. There's some that I could give it to. I can't, Matthews 64 is great, but the goal itself, nah, I can't do it. I just can't give it to that. The McMahon goal was good. I can't give it there. I enjoyed the Domi goal. I enjoyed a lot of the game tonight. I love how he's playing. I love the play. I love the pass. I love the fake shot pass by Lyubushkin. Perfect tape to tape. Great tip. 5-hole by Domi. And you got to feel good about that, especially given, his history in Montreal and the fact that he always was a Leafs fan anyways, wanted to play in Toronto. He talked his smack about Toronto, but fair enough. You were with Montreal. Now you're with Toronto. You get to give it back to them about the way things went down there, about how you had to leave, you didn't get to stay, and now you're with the team you want to play for. You got the passion. You've got the passion. But that's not my play of the game. My play of the game is the Ryan Reaves fight. This guy is a mutant. You're seeing Austin Matthews talk about it after, talk about how important he is to the team, how much of a beast he is, how much he loves watching him. You're seeing all these guys talk about how they love the intensity that's brought here. We're seeing in the media, we're hearing Rosie talk about it. We're hearing it on the show. We're getting fans calling in here. You guys in the chat calling in. You guys talking about it via text, talking about everything that's going on in the game. Being like, oh yeah, and Ryan Reaves. Oh yeah, and that fight by Reaves. And then you know it's going to lead SportsCenter. You know it's going to be on Instagram. We know we're going to watch the fight by Ryan Reaves. He pumps Pizzetta here tonight. Absolutely pumps him. You gotta love it, man. This is a legitimate tough guy that we're getting to watch on our team, and he's actually making an impact on the rest of the game too. Like, he is in hard on forechecks. He has another opportunity there in the third period tonight. Chases down the defenseman, steals it from him, gets a good opportunity. Gets a shot off, creates a chance. Like, Revo is a menace. My play of the game is the fight. I just am a little bit of I have the caveman in me where it's like, ooh, fights. Like, I am excited. That's what went on. That's what I loved. Shout out to Revo. What an animal, man. 1.3 is still too much. Let's be real. But I love him on the team. Final thing, grades of the game.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Grades of the game, I want you guys to send them in the chat here as well. I want to see what you guys are thinking about tonight. I think last time I came in lower than everyone, so that was interesting. We've been a little bit off. We haven't been in sync with the chat. I feel like we've pretty much been in around the right place, like we're very close, you know, a plus, a minus here or there. That's on par at least. And tonight just didn't hit. We just didn't get there. Or in last night's game, we didn't get there. Man, my brain is just going silly at this point. Not last night's game. Last game, we didn't get there. I'm hoping we can get there tonight. I think I'm going to go with an A. You have a bunch of moving parts. You're seeing some new lines. You got Marner you're inserting back in here. Morgan Riley's trying to take another step with another game back in the lineup. And traditionally, when you see these, adding those types of players back doesn't just automatically improve your team or automatically just make the way your team's going to play that much better. It just doesn't. There's so many moving pieces. Keith made the right decisions with the lineup ahead of time. He made the right decision of putting these guys together. He didn't tinker like crazy throughout the game, which you got to be happy about. You get goals from multiple different kind of players and lines here tonight. McMahon, Nyes, you get the first line with Domi and Matthews there. Then you get the second line with McMahon and a pass from Marner. You get the third line with Willie entering the zone, throwing a pass across. It goes cross back across the blue line, shot in, rebound out, tucks in by Nyes in front. Good patience, good hands, able to bury. Samsonov, a 923 save percentage. You know, obviously we're going to want the power play to be better. You go 0 for 1, but like you went 0 for 1, whatever. Penalty kill was 0 for 1 as well. So special teams, not the best night. Special teams, special plays, special players, but you're going to dial in. Like, one penalty and they scored. You're not going to hit 100%. You're just not. Power play, Marner's back. Everyone in the chat wants to talk about how Marner's the reason that the team can't score on the power play. Okay, fair. Let's see what happens as this progresses and he gets back in the flow of it. I'm going to give it an A-. I'm going to go A-. It could have been better. There were some lulls. You did let them get 2. You held it off. Not a perfect game. Want to see some improvement. A- for me. That's going to do it for tonight's show. I appreciate everyone who watched. I did see a message there from my guy Luke as well. Brody Nylander. I understand Nylander. What do you think of this? Hits. This is a hits list. Oh. Hits this year. Games played. Nylander, 76. He has 28 hits. I mean... TJ Brody, 73 games played, 39 hits. I mean, Luke, this is a little bit of an eye-opening one, but you kind of also just don't expect Nylander to hit as much. Like, I don't know, Matthews at 83, so he's got, almost 55 more. Matthew Nyes in third on the team in hits at 157. TJ Brody at 39. Yeah, I'd like to see him be more physical, but I also just don't think he's that physical of a player, so I'm not really asking for that much out of them. But thanks to everyone who tuned in. That's going to do it for me here tonight. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys watching, continuing to show love, to follow. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, whatever. Tweet about the show. If you missed it and you can't watch, or you're thinking maybe in the future there's going to be a time where you're not going to be able to listen live, or you're not going to be able to watch the next day, you can find it on podcasts. The Leafs Nation After Dark, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also listen on radio live as well here and now. So check that out on the Leafs Nation Twitter account. The link goes out. I appreciate everyone who watched. Thank you guys very much. This has been game number 76 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Montreal Canadiens here tonight 4-2, moving to 44, 23, and 9 on the season. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you back here on Monday night following the game against the Penguins. Keep believing.